Yes, people, yes, people, yes, people. Welcome back to another episode of the We Talk Football podcast. You're here with Kwaku. Obviously, as you can see and as you can hear, I'm riding this one solo. Unfortunately, because of technological and logistical issues, my brother Jamie couldn't record this podcast episode with myself. But don't worry, we'll be back with episode 6 next week, both of us. So in honor of Jamie, we're going to call this one episode 5.5. It's going to be a bit more truncated, a bit more streamlined, a bit more coherent. This week, we talk Premier League fixtures, including that huge Merseyside derby coming up on Saturday between Everton and Liverpool. And we talk fantasy football on the We Talk Football podcast. Yes. So I think the perfect place to start would be that Merseyside derby on Saturday early afternoon. Everton versus Liverpool at Goodison Park. Ordinarily, Liverpool will be going into this game as heavy favourites, as they have done for the last however many Merseyside derbies. But don't know, things are a bit different this season. Everton have looked really, really good if you go through their initial fixtures of the season. Beat Spurs convincingly on the first day of the season, 1-0. Slapped up West Brom, beat Palace, and then before the international break, beat Brighton 4-2. If we look at Liverpool's fixtures, first game of the season, that thriller against Leeds 4-3. Beat Chelsea convincingly 2-0, but don't get too gassed, Liverpool fans. We were down to 10 men in the second half and did miss a penalty. And then against Arsenal, one of the most dominant performances I've seen from this Liverpool team in terms of everything working, the pressing, the passing, everything seems to be ticking. Although they did give Arsenal a few chances, Liverpool looked absolutely supreme. And then before the international break, the result that shocked the Premier League, the 7-2 defeat at the hands of Aston Villa. Ollie Watkins having an absolute field day. A first half hat-trick. Could have had more. Jackie Grealish looking like the best player in the Premier League. Ross Barkley looking like he's found a second wind. And yeah, that sent ripples around the Premier League in terms of, is this the norm? Is this going to be the new norm for Liverpool, or is this just an anomaly? Personally, I think it's going to be a bit of an anomaly, but we might see them a bit more defensively fragile, especially as Alisson's out for the next however many weeks. Adrian a little bit less adept at coming off his line. Liverpool playing that high line. There's a lot of space between the defence and the goalkeeper. And explosive attacking players will be able to exploit that. So we'll be able to see, this weekend with Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison up top for Everton, if that back line will be exposed again in terms of that high line. I am predicting goals in this game. My boy Calvert-Lewin, I'm sure you've all seen my hot takes on Calvert-Lewin pre-season. I'm on the bandwagon. I rate him. He scored a goal for England, during the international break, and I do see him scoring a goal against Liverpool this weekend. I've got it down as 2-2. I feel like the attackers are going to come up on top. I don't see there being any clean sheets for any of these teams. So yeah, 2-2 Everton, 2-2 Everton Liverpool this game. The next game we're going to look at, we're not going to look at all of the games, we're just going to look at the key fixtures this weekend. But the next game I want to look at is the Chelsea versus Southampton at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea have had a bit of an indifferent start to the season. Been a bit up and down. Started the season well with a 3-1 victory against Brighton. And then we had that wobble kind of in between those two victories. We got our asses handed to us by Liverpool as expected, or as to be expected. But Christensen did get sent off in that game, and Jorginho did miss a penalty, something that he doesn't ever do. And then that absolute thriller against West Brom, 3-0 down at half time. I'm seeing online calls for Lampard out, people saying he's in over his head. And then in the second half, the Cobham Cubs, as I like to call them, came to Lampard's rescue, Mason Mount with a stunner. You saw Callum Hudson-Odoi link up well with Kai Havertz, and then Tammy Abraham with the last minute equaliser. So they came to Lampard's rescue that day, and then we followed that up with a convincing 4-0 victory against Crystal Palace. A game where Chelsea illustrated a strong defensive line. Thiago Silva next to Kurt Zouma looks like a strong defensive partnership. Ben Chilwell had an incredible game, got a goal, got an assist, was man of the match. And yeah, Chelsea overall defensively looked good in that game. Again, going forward, I think we flattered to deceive a little bit. Timo Werner's not firing on all cylinders yet. Kai Havertz looked good. But again, we haven't seen the best of him. But if we look at the opponents, Chelsea are facing, again, Southampton have had a mixed start to the season. Obviously started off the season against Palace and then lost. Lost quite heavily to Spurs 5-2. Obviously the Harry Kane and Son clinic. And then last two games before the international break put together a decent little run. They beat Burnley 1-0 and then beat West Brom 2-0. So this is the Southampton team that at the beginning of the season I predicted to do quite well. Hassan Hutel, I believe, is a good manager. Danny Ings is going to score you goals. Although they lost one of their best midfielders in Højbjerg, I do believe that Southampton are going to be a team that's going to be around mid-table this season, maybe lower half of mid-table. But I can't see anything more than a Chelsea victory in this game, or anything less than a Chelsea victory. I feel like we're going to start, now post-lockdown, we're going to start seeing the attacking patterns being put together for Chelsea, whether that be with Pulisic, whether that be with Ziyech, whether that be with Havertz, whether that be with Werner. These players are now fit, now had some time to ingratiate themselves with each other, and I feel like we're going to see the best of Chelsea post-lockdown. I'm going for a 2-0 Chelsea win in this game. Again, Lampard said in his press conference that Thiago Silva might not be fit for this game. He's arrived back from international duty in jaded shape, so we'll see if he does start this game. But regardless of that, I think Chelsea have got the ability to eke out a positive result, and 2-0 I think is a fair result. I feel like our defensive line are starting to now understand each other. Although Mendy might be out for this game, which could be a problem with Kepa looking to slot back into that position. But again, I think Chelsea are more than capable of eking out a good result against a Southampton team, who are, like I say, are decent, but Chelsea should be favourites. So 2-0 Chelsea this game. That's my prediction for that. Saturday's just literally rammed with incredible fixtures. The next fixture is the Man City Arsenal game. Again, City have had an indifferent start to the season. Defence is looking kind of jaded. It's not looking up to scratch. Obviously, there's been that Vincent Kompany space void for a year and a half now, but they don't look like they've got it together. Leeds obviously gave them an incredible game. If it wasn't for the other results that weekend, it would have been game of the weekend. But and Arsenal looking very, very good this season. Arsenal are my dark horses. I think they've made some incredible signings. Obviously, Partey is an incredible signing. Gabriel, I think, is a very, very good signing. Getting Aubameyang to sign that contract's incredible. Obviously, Leno at back end of last season wasn't fit, but now he's back. So Arsenal have got a very, very strong spine. And I feel like that's the foundation for any successful Premier League team is that strong core, that dependable core. I think Tierney is a doubt for the game because of COVID-related issues. But again, we have to see what happens come kickoff. In this game, I'm going for an Arsenal win. I think De Bruyne's missing for Man City. I'm not too sure if Jesus is back yet. They've struggled to kind of find their rhythm, City. Pep Guardiola came out the other day and said that the space or the void that David Silva's left is definitely a difficult one to fill. And although Phil Foden is having a decent start to the season, I just feel like Arsenal go into this one with a little bit of momentum. That 2-1 victory against Sheffield United before the international break. Saka scoring, Saka getting selected for England. There's a lot of goodwill around Arteta. Arsenal seem to have got their ducks in order, or ducks in a row, or I don't even know if that's a phrase. But yeah, I feel like Arsenal are going to win this one. I'm going for a 2-1 Arsenal win, even though they are away from home. And yeah, we'll see what happens with that game. Then the last fixture on Saturday is Newcastle versus Manchester United. This is going to be maybe not the game of the weekend, but the most interesting game of the weekend in terms of the ramifications if Manchester United lose. So this whole international break, the Man United spin kind of media has been out in full force. Bruno doesn't get on a volley. Pogba saying he wants to play for Real Madrid. I feel like a lot of those stories are fabricated just to kind of make up for the incompetency of Manchester United in the transfer window, missing out on Jadon Sancho, missing out on a key centre back. But I do think Ollie's in trouble if he doesn't win this game against Newcastle. They struggled at the beginning of the season. Obviously, they lost to, who did they play first game? They lost to Palace. Then they squeezed past where Brighton, Bruno scoring that penalty in the 100th minute after the full-time whistle. And then they got absolutely demolished by Spurs. So it's not do or die for Ollie yet, because I don't think they're going to get rid of him after this game. But if they continue to have this kind of run of results, I feel like he's going to be in trouble and his days are going to be numbered. They might be numbered anyway. Obviously, there's massive talks of Poch coming in. I don't think he's going to be someone to solve their issues, but the board are kind of trying to cover their own asses by failing to sign Jadon Sancho and other transfer targets. And I feel like for Ollie's going to be the fall guy in the situation. In terms of Newcastle, a solid start to the season, to be fair. A 2-0 win against West Ham. Then 3-0 loss against Brighton. Brighton do look good this season, so that can be excused. A 1-1 draw against Spurs. And arguably fortunate to get that result. It wasn't a handball from Eric Dyer. And then a comfortable 3-1 win against Burnley. So it's been as you expect from Newcastle. There's some up and down results, but I feel like they're well placed to stay in the division this year. Callum Wilson's going to score them goals. And they might be coming up against a Manchester United team at the best kind of time. Harry Maguire's looking fragile at the moment, whether it's what happened in Greece at the beginning of the season that's affecting him, or if he's just suffering a dip in form. He just doesn't look at it. He doesn't look like the £80 million centre back that they signed last summer. So it remains to be seen with United. It's a difficult one to predict. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Manchester United win. I feel like with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he has got that resilience. Like, he when his back's against the wall, he always seems to pull out these big results. Last season, he pulled out big results against big teams at crucial times where you thought it was going to be Ole out. Then he pulls out a string of results, and he saved his own ass. So I'm going for a 2-1 Manchester United win, not with any confidence at all, because their last showing against Tottenham was absolutely abysmal. But I do feel like they're going to rally together and get a victory in this game against Newcastle at St James's Park. So other key fixtures to look at. If you look at Sunday, 12 o'clock kickoff, got Sheffield United versus Fulham. It's on BT Box Office. That's one thing I do want to touch on. Pay-per-view for Premier League games. I remember back in the day, like Prem Plus. No one was getting Prem Plus. What? So I pay my Sky subscription, or I pay my BT subscription, and I'm still gonna have to pay £15 to watch my team play. Like, I'm not out here pleading poverty as a Chelsea fan. I understand I'm in a very privileged position. My team is either in one of those allocated TV spots, whether it be 12:30 on Saturday, 5:30 on Saturday, or Monday Night Football, or one of the games in the afternoon on Sunday. My team is ordinarily on TV, so I'm not streaming that much. But say you're Sheffield United or you're a Fulham fan, and you know that unless you're playing against one of the big teams, you're not going to be on one of those allocated TV slots. So you're going to have to be paying £15 to watch your team every single time. And say you're one of those fans that bought a season ticket pre-season, and you're going to have to pay £15 to watch your team every time. They're having a laugh. That one of the most tone-deaf things I've seen from the Premier League, from BT, from Sky. Is an absolute disgrace. I'm not going to go on too much about it, but to ask fans in the midst of a pandemic to fork out 15 quid every time they want to watch their team play, you are having a laugh. Big up all the streaming sites out there that are going to try and get the games out there for free. I know for a fact I'm not paying. I think Chelsea playing Southampton on BT Sport Box Office on Saturday. I ain't paying that. I'm not paying £15 to watch my team play. I'm going to have 5 different tabs open. I'm going to have 5 different streaming sites. I'm going to see which one works. Like, I'll deal with the buffering. I'm not paying for that. I'm not paying to watch my team play because I already pay a Sky subscription. I already pay a BT Sports subscription. I'm not doing it. It's just not happening. Absolute disgrace. But yeah, Sheffield United versus Fulham. This is a 6-pointer already. These are 2 teams that haven't picked up a single point this season. The manager that loses this game is going to be in trouble. I think that Sheffield United are going to have more perseverance with Chris Wilder just because of how well he's performed in the last 2 seasons in terms of taking Sheffield United up, and also their outstanding performance in the Premier League last season. But if Scott Parker loses this game, his job at Fulham is in trouble. I feel like he's in deep trouble. He's going to be top of like the list for the Premier League manager sack race. I feel like he needs a win in this game, or he needs to at least get a point. This is at Bramall Lane, so it's going to be difficult for Fulham. Score prediction for that one, I'm going 1-1. I like both teams. I don't want to see any of those managers go. I feel like they're good managers, but the Premier League is just tough. Like from positions 1 to maybe 12, those are all teams that can make major investments. And Fulham and Sheffield United kind of fall in like the lower echelon of the Premier League, like Premier League teams in terms of spending, in terms of investment. And yeah, they're two teams that could be in trouble this season, so they don't turn their form around pretty quickly. Other standout fixtures. So, we've got like the oddest derby in football. We've got Palace versus Brighton, like going or living in Brighton for 3 or 4 years. Their biggest rivals are Crystal Palace, which I don't really understand because, like, in terms of geography, there are teams that are much closer. But yeah, they've got a heated rivalry. That's the Glen Murray derby. Palace looked really good this season. They did look like a blunt object against Chelsea just before the international break. But they look good going forward. Eze obviously looks like a baller. Zaha is a baller. Brighton also looked good. Brighton did give Chelsea a good game in the first game of the season. They smashed Newcastle as well. Lamptey's an early candidate for PFA Young Player of the Year. So that should be a good game. That should be a standout. All the games, to be fair, this weekend are good games. So Palace versus Brighton. This is a pie in the sky kind of prediction. I'm going to go 2-1 Palace. Don't ask me why. They're following that 4:30 on Sky Sports. Spurs versus West Ham. Always fun. Always a fun fixture. Spurs are looking very, very good. Jose said in his press conference on Friday that Gareth Bale could be fit to play, so it'll be exciting to see Gareth Bale in the Spurs shirt again. From a football fan's point of view, obviously from a Chelsea fan's point of view, I don't want to see Gareth Bale do well, but from somebody who remembers Gareth Bale fondly in the Premier League doing the madness for Spurs back in the day, it will be good to see him play and be happy playing football again. I'm sure West Ham fans aren't really sharing that kind of emotion with myself, just because Gareth Bale has put on clinics against West Ham. I think it was the season before he went to Madrid, put on an absolute clinic and scored, I think it was a last minute worldie at Upton Park. I feel like this game could go either way, to be fair. So, like, West Ham have looked decent. Jared Bowen, shout out to Jamie. Your guy Jared Bowen's been looking decent. Antonio's been looking decent. Declan Rice has been looking very, very good as well. But I think Spurs are just going to have too much. Harry Kane, Son, if Bale plays, they're going to have too much firepower. And I'm going for a 4-1 Tottenham win. But again, the Premier League is just one of these leagues, especially this year, where it could go either way. If West Ham end up winning this game 5-0, you won't be surprised, just because that's the way the league's gone this year. But yeah, I'm going for a 4-1 Tottenham win, and we'll see what happens. Then the last game on Sunday is Leicester versus Aston Villa. Again, another interesting one. A couple of Midlands teams there. Leicester started off the season very, very strongly. Leicester are always going to be there or thereabouts. They've definitely built well since the title win in 2016, and they're always going to be there or thereabouts. Suffered a difficult or heavy defeat against West Ham just before the international break, but before that, beginning of the season, they beat West Brom 3-0, beat Burnley 4-2, obviously beat Man City 5-2, and something that was a crazy game. Aston Villa, they are flying high. I feel like everybody needs to calm down a little bit, because I've seen a lot of people's lists when it comes to best Premier League signings this summer, and people have got Ollie Watkins at the top of their list, and it's like, before this Liverpool game, he hasn't scored in the league yet for Villa, so people need to calm down a little bit. But I can understand, if you're a Villa fan, why this is the most exciting season you've had in a while. Jack Grealish is a certified baller. Someone tell that to Gareth Southgate, please. Ross Barkley looks like he's found a home. Obviously, it's just been one game, granted, but he looked very, very good against Liverpool. And yeah, they've had really good results this season. Obviously, that 1-0 win against Sheffield United at the beginning of the season. convincingly beat Fulham, but again, I don't know how much you can read into that because Fulham are looking like they're going to be in trouble this season. So beat Fulham 3-0, and then the result of the Premier League campaign this year. The result of the Premier League calendar this year. I still don't think that works. But beating Liverpool 7-2. Ollie Watkins banging in a hattie. Jack Wilshere, 2 goals, 3 assists. I don't know. This one, before the Liverpool result, I would have said I'd take Leicester in this game. But if you look at Leicester's game before the international break and then you look at Villa's game before the international break, they're in contrasting forms in regards to their last game. So it's a tough one to call. I'm going to go with a Leicester win, though. I'm going to go with a 3-2 Leicester win. There's going to be goals in this game. There's going to be goals in all the games. We know that already. The Premier League's mad this year. 3-2 Leicester win. I think Bardi bags a couple and leads Leicester to victory. And then the last 2 games of this match week are on Monday. The earlier kickoff, 5:30, is West Brom versus Burnley. Probably the least exciting game of this weekend. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it. I'll just give you my score prediction. I think it's going to be a 2-0 Burnley win. I think West Brom are in trouble. I don't think they're good enough to stay up, and I feel like they're going to get cut adrift very, very quickly. I like Slaven Bilic, but I think Burnley will have the know-how, and they're going to start to put on a good run of form. So, Burnley win. 1-0, 2-0. 2-0 Burnley win. And the last fixture is another banger. Leeds versus Wolves, Monday Night Football. Both teams that I begrudgingly like nobody's supposed to like Leeds, but I feel like they're kind of people's secret second team. It's a tough one, this one, in terms of a score prediction for it, just because their form has just both been kind of erratic. So Wolves were 1-2 and lost 2 this season. Leeds obviously suffered that defeat at the beginning of the season, but been undefeated since losing to Liverpool. Beat Fulham 4-3, which was another thriller. Beat Sheffield United pretty convincingly 1-0, and then had that absolute ping pong game of a football match against Man City where they drew 1-1. I'm going for a Wolves win in this one. I know Wolves are away from home, but Wolves always seem to they go through these lows in season. So everyone's talking about them, the Wolves this, Wolves that, and then they go through a low and then they get some results. But I feel like this is one of the games where Wolves are going to get a result. I'm going to go 2-1 Wolves. It's at Ellen Road, I believe. But 2-1 Wolves. And that's the roundup for the fixtures. We've not been great on fixtures or predicting results this season, but I'm pretty confident in the ones I picked this week. I think it's definitely the best match week of the season so far. The Merseyside derby, the Chelsea Southampton, and Man City Arsenal, and United versus Newcastle. So it remains to be seen. But let us know what you think about how you think the scores are going to go this weekend. Yes. And to round off episode 5.5, the decimal episode of the We Talk Football podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about fantasy. I'm not going to go through what transfers I might make or what not, or who sits where in the league. We're literally just we're gonna go gun-ho with it. So it's been well documented that me and Jamie have been absolutely horrendous when it comes to fantasy. I think it's time to play the wild card. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. But for people listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever your favourite streaming platform is, my team at the moment is atrocious. Got Tierney, got Bernardo, got Marty, Robertson, Cody. Then midfield, I've got Aubameyang, Kante, Salah, St. Maximan, Romeu. Up top, I've got Werner, Mitrovic, Kane. Just not a balanced team there. There's a lot of names there, but there's not really people who've been performing. Like, Werner hasn't scored a Premier League goal yet. Like Mitrovic, he did a little bit at the beginning of the season, but I'm not too sure if I can rely on him consistently. Obviously, Kane's a gunman. So, I've decided to revamp my team completely. And my new team looks like this. So, in goal, got Patricio, and then got Forster on the bench. With my defence, I've got Chilwell, I've got Kilman, I've got Creswell, I've got Robertson, and I've got Douglas from Leeds. Midfield, I've got Jorginho, De Bruyne, Salah, St. Maximan, Grealish. That midfield is just, that's c'est magnifique. Got that je ne sais quoi. something different, that midfield. Look at that. De Bruyne. Yo. Why has De Bruyne got the question mark or the exclamation mark on him? Oh shit, yeah, he's injured. So set Maximan. Oh, fuck that. Anyways, we're going to ignore that. I'm going to keep him in anyway. And then up top, I've got Calvert-Lewin, I've got Rory the Lapson, and I've got Harry Kane. So there's a bit more balance to this team, you know. My boy Calvert-Lewin's in there. Always had faith in him. Always knew he was going to score goals this season. Got Harry Kane, the straight gunman. Midfield is absolutely brilliant. So yeah, we'll see how I fare this go round. I'm going to play my wild card, obviously. I'm changing up the whole team. And we'll see how we go. Obviously, if you want to get involved, you think you can do better than me and Jamie, the code link's going to be in the description. Make sure you jump in and get involved in the We Talk Football League. And yeah, that's everything for this week of the podcast. Like I say, it's been a bit of a strange episode doing it on my ones. I'm looking forward to having Jamie back. I thought I'd be able to run this, but it's been a bit of a struggle. So yeah, make sure you follow us on socials. It's We Talk Football Podcast on Instagram. It's WTF Podcast 90 on Twitter. We Talk Football on Spotify and Apple Music. You know where to find us. Obviously, all the information in the description. Make sure you keep your eyes peeled and your ears pinned for more episodes. And we'll see you later. Take care.